Hello dear friends, with you Naya. Today I'm going to tell you about a very original mod. Oh, and what's that noise on the street? We should go see.
They're coming, they're almost here already.
What's going on? We should go to the village elder. He probably knows. Arkarius Yegorovich, what kind of panic is there in the village? Did Timothy come to our club to perform?
Which Timothy? Where are your eyes? Haven't you seen it? There's a horde of some kind of creatures over there over the hill. Our village is about to be razed to the ground. The boyik in our village has never been born. It is necessary.
What is to be done? I'll go talk to our local philosopher at least. He is the only one who never panics and always has an original view of the world. Euclid Ostapovich, I'm here to see you, and this is what it's about.
Don't bother me. This is not the time to philosophize. The work season has begun. Orders will be piled up soon. If I don't prepare in advance, I won't be able to cope later. There are a lot of dead people planned today. Give me a better plane over there.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to consult with you about. I understand that this is not in the best interests of your business. Well, maybe somehow it is still possible to avoid losses on our part.
Yes, it is possible. Of course it is possible. But who is going to do this? Our village Baldui are brave only in their beds.
Well, maybe I can do something. Just tell me what.
It's not a girl's thing.
Yes, our choice is not there. Let's talk already.
Well, if that's the case, then here's an idea for you. There is an ancient temple behind the mountains, behind the forests. This is not a good place. Everyone bypasses him. So, there is an altar in this very temple. With the help of this altar, you can create inanimate warriors for yourself. But in order to subdue this undead will, you need to make a special ring. Here's an instruction for you. In short, read the manual and do not climb under my arm anymore. Understand?
So dear friends, today I'm going to tell you about a mod that allows us to create our own army of the dead. And imagine, she will obey us. The mod is called Overlord, which can be translated as Lord, Lord, Master, or Master. It exists for version 1.10, 2 and above. First of all, I strongly recommend that you install a guide and a PIA along with this mod, which will add to you such a manual, although so far only in English. It will be given to you at the very beginning, but in case you have lost it, crafting it is not difficult. By the way, before I forget, I'll say that for the Overlord mod, there is a Don from the same developer called Souls Mechanics. This clone allows you to build Terminators. But back to our army of the dead. First of all, we need to create an altar. In the latest version of the mod, there are two variants of them, one for creating small skeletons, and the second for skeleton warriors. The creation of both takes place according to the same principle, but skeletal warriors have more opportunities, so I will show them by example. Basically, having an altar, you can already create dead warriors. Only here there is one problem. They will not listen to you. In order to subjugate them to your will, you will need either a brand or a signet of the Lord. Craft Clima is cheaper. It's like this. Any die is suitable for it, but the Climo only works once. That is, it is consumed when used. But you will have a ring with a seal. It can be used indefinitely. In addition, it is needed to control your army. It is crafted from pieces of gold and iron. That is, craft is also not fabulously expensive. Before using a stamp or signet, you need to bind them to yourself by right-clicking. holding them in your hands. They will begin to shimmer like enchanted objects. Now we can create our own warriors. The building materials for their creation are bones and, oddly enough, milk. Apparently, there is a lot of calcium in milk, and it is necessary for the bones to be strong. But with such a basic set, our skeleton warrior will be quite vulnerable because it will burn in the sun. Whatever happens, we have several options. The first and easiest thing is to give him any helmet. But if you don't want your army to look like skeletons, then there are several options for how you can dress them up. There are two skins in the game. One of them is Steve, and the second is a sand zombie. Their craft is like this. By the way, skeletons dressed up are also not afraid of sunlight. You can install them either when creating a skeleton, or later by right-clicking on the skeleton in a squat, holding the skin in your hands. You can also remove the skin back. Do this with scissors by sitting down and right-clicking. Actually, the developer wrote that skeletal warriors can be assigned the skin of any player on the server. To do this, rename the skin in the anvil to the nickname of the player whose appearance you want to assign for your warrior. But I didn't succeed either in solitary or on the server. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. If one of you has rolled this trick, share a secret. Personally, I will be very interested to know how you did it. But skins are not the only thing we can hang on our warriors. They can also be given weapons and armor, and from any mods. Skeletal warriors, unlike cubs, can be given a bow, and arrows must be put in inventory because they run out. In the inventory of the skeleton warrior, by the way, there are 9 slots. He can also collect loot if he has free space. The baby skeletons have no inventory. Weapons and armor can also be given to them, but they will not shoot with a bow. Another advantage of skeleton warriors over cubs is that they accumulate experience and become stronger and faster. There are 2 ways to upgrade the experience of a skeleton warrior. The first, and perhaps the safest one, is to give him milk to drink. You can put buckets of milk in his inventory, or you can put milk bottles, which, by the way, are also added to these mods. Bottles are better than buckets, because they add about the same amount of experience, but unlike buckets, they can be stacked. Milk is poured into the bottle in the same way as into a bucket, directly from the cow. By the way, skeletons can be treated with milk if they are damaged. To do this, put the milk in the skeleton's inventory, or just throw it into a bottle as an explosive potion. If you put milk in the inventory of a skeleton warrior, then he will be released at the moment when he moves to the next level, so it's safer to treat all the same by throwing bottles. And skeletal warriors can be given extra buns. They give your fighters different effects, as well as slightly change the color of the skeleton itself. There are several of these buns. Iron Ingot gives the warrior a resistance effect. Obsidian gives resistance, deceleration, and fire resistance if your combat unit is on fire. The Anvil. A skeleton with an anvil falls rapidly and causes damage to those who fall on their heads, and, like the previous 2, gives a resistance effect. The Golden Apple slowly restores health, even without milk. Enchanted Apple quickly restores health. The Skull of a Skeleton and a Dryer. Skeleton attacks give the effect of drying enemies, and also gives the effect of fire resistance to your warrior, if there is such a need. In addition to skeletons warriors and skeletons cubs, there is also such an intermediate form of skeletons middlings. In the new versions of the mod, they cannot be created in the altar, but they can be obtained by curing ordinary skeletons. This process is similar to how we treat zombie residents in vanilla. For those who do not know, I will tell you, to do this, we will need an explosive weakness potion and a golden apple. We should fence the skeleton so that it does not run away, and also protect it from direct sunlight, so that it does not burn. To begin with, we throw the potion at the skeleton, and then right-click the mouse to give him an apple. The process itself takes from 2 to 8 minutes of real time. As a result, we get a skeleton like this, which is better than a cub, but still worse than a skeleton warrior because it cannot raise its level. All other functions it has are the same as that of a skeleton warrior. You can control your warriors by opening their interface. I will show you again on the example of the skeleton of a warrior as the most advanced. On top is this red stripe, and this is the health scale. The skeleton warrior has 16 health when creating, but is restored to 20. The average skeleton has 20 health at once, but it can no longer be pumped. The little skeleton has only 8 health. Below is the experience scale. It is not limited. That is, theoretically, you can pump them indefinitely. However, each next level is gaining more and more difficult. The higher the level of the skeleton warrior, the more health it has, the higher the movement speed and attack power. On the right, there is a slot for additional improvements. You already know about them. Below, there are 9 inventory slots. On the left, there are slots for weapons and armor. And with these arrows, you can identify your skeleton in the squad. This is where the behavior mode control is located. There are several of them. They determine movement and attack. There can be attack modes. Assav or passive, your warrior will be a real pacifist and will not attack under any circumstances. The hyphen is protective. The warrior will only attack mobs that attacked him or you. Aggressive, aggressive. Everything that can threaten you in principle will be attacked, as well as those who will be attacked by you. Modes of movement. Station, your warrior will not move and will not attack hand to hand. Follow, the warrior will follow you as a tame wolf would follow. The skeleton will roam the territory within a radius of 32 blocks from the place where it received this order. Adds us a few items that make it easier for us to manage our army of the dead. The first one is the squad editor. It is a book in which your units will be entered. Crafting books like this. It allows you to create up to 5 squads. The skeleton squad can be assigned after the squad name is spelled out in the book. Now, if you have a ring, you can give orders to individual units by selecting them with arrows. I have already shown you the behavior modes for units. With the ring, you can assign behavior not to each individual soldier, but to the whole squad at once. The next item is the Rock of the Call. It is crafted from boards. This rock calls your entire army to you. There is also such a golden crown. In addition to the fact that it makes you feel like a true master and just looks cool. With its help, we can see what improvements are on each of our warriors. And the last item that this mod adds is a keychain. With this keychain, you can stuff your warriors into your pocket, but only 1 piece per keychain. So keep in mind that you will not be able to drag an entire army in your inventory, since each keychain will occupy 1 slot. Among other things, the engine adds the ability to create alliances or declare enemies in multiplayer mode. The alliance allows you to make other players your allies. Your skeletons will not attack allies, just as the skeletons of allies will not attack you. To add a player as an ally, enter the team Eli and the player's nickname. Of course, the player must be online. This is to send him a request. He must accept or reject this request by the ELA expert or Ilari Jack team, respectively. To see which players are in an alliance with you, enter a team or a list. To remove someone from the alliance, enter the team Ilari Muff and the player's nickname. The player must have an online status. You may also want to mark one of the players as your enemy. If you do this, that player will not be able to send you alliance requests. Also, your units that are in defense mode will attack them as soon as they see them. To mark someone as your enemy, enter the enemy team and the player's nickname. Of course, this person must be in the game. You can view the list of your enemies with the enemy list command. You can remove the player's name and nickname from the list with the command, and again, He must be online at this moment. That's all I can tell you about this wonderful mod. I really liked him. I think you will too. All the links you need are as always in the description under the video. I am waiting for your comments. Take care of the bones and stock up on milk. And don't forget to wear the ring of omnipotence, one ring to rule everyone. Well, I have already created my army, and now my village will be saved. Attack, my loyal warriors!